It's not a game, it's a lifestyle. Modern gaming's filled with incomplete releases, game-breaking bugs, and a waiting game to get content that should have been there upon launch. There's an argument that games are more advanced now today and require more, but so are the tools for building them. Old games had standards, and now a lower barrier of entry is causing more people who previously had to have a high level of passion to create these games to be able to be involved in the industry now, simply as a day job. That's fine, as long as you care about what you're doing and love it. Most games this day and age follow a battle pass or a seasonal model. If you look at all of these games, they all have battle passes, they all have seasonal content, games as a service, essentially software as a service. This is actually a good thing compared to some of the loot boxes and other things that we had in the mid-2010s, 2015, 2014, around that time. But at the same time, I don't think that this is exactly the answer. With the way that the consumers vote with their wallets at the current point in time, we're telling these companies that it's okay to release incomplete games. In the modern era, a lot of developers seem to be pushed by the publishers and the companies that own them to make decisions based off what's best for the shareholders and not for the end users. I think that this eventually hurts the reputation of the game and the franchise, as well as the company in whole. So what's my point in making this video? I guess I just wanted to open up your mind or spread my way of thinking about this particular subject and why I think Diablo 2 is so great. Personally, I think Diablo 2 released as a pretty much complete game. Then a year and a half, 2 years later, they released Lord of Destruction, which was a good expansion, and it really expanded upon the itemization of the game. And then between then and now, between then and like 2010, they released updates for the game, patches that brought new items to the game, new things to the game. And the game has really lived over a 20-year lifespan. And I just want to know, like, besides maybe like Counter-Strike, there's like no other games that have done that, honestly, I don't think. I mean, let me know. I'm a little bit oblivious to certain things that I'm not personally interested in, but let me know. So there's that. There's the great itemization system. Diablo 2 is fairly repetitive, but the 5 acts that we do have a lot going on. You know, we got the 7 different character classes, we got all these rune words, we got the amazing itemization system, we got all these rares that you could spend years going after. You know, we got the holy grail that you can do, we got PvP, we got playing through the game, you know, with each different character, experimenting with different niche builds, experimenting with different stuff. I feel like a lot of games in this day and age, it's just kind of like $60, here's your 8-hour story mode. Have a great day. The thing that makes it even worse is they're even increasing the price of the games now to $70, which is understandable with inflation, but at the same time, inflate your efforts a little bit as well. That's nothing against any of the developers. I'm really more so coming at the publishers and the people who are really the higher ups, who are more involved with the finance and the business aspects as opposed to the actual creative and design aspects of the games. I really think that those guys are doing their best, and I think that the core of the problem is greed. One aspect that I really think Diablo 2 did right was the progression system. When you start out in the game, your character can barely run to the mailbox without running out of stamina. He's like a chain smoker who just can't put him down even to tie his shoes. As you go through the game getting better gear and learning more about the game mechanics, you learn ways to really dominate all of the enemies in the game to the point where it essentially becomes a joke and everything just dies as you walk. I really think, aside from there being a good base game, I really think the end game is the heart and soul of Diablo 2. Once you make your first character, once you finish the game, that's just the beginning. You haven't even ventured into the overpowered realm yet. The fact that you can play as your sorceress and maybe find an item that inspires you to make a barbarian now is what's so great about the game, and I really enjoy loot being random as opposed to giving you sets and items specifically catered towards your character, almost like as if you're playing the game on a track. All in all, I just want to wrap up the video by saying that modern games have a lot that they could learn from Diablo 2. And I think that software as a service overall is a great thing if it's done in the proper way. I think that games should release a little bit more complete, and then I think that the battle pass and things like that should focus a little bit more on actual in-game content and less on cosmetics. But here's to wishing.